Okay. All right. So once again, welcome to this session of CPD by WSO. Sorry, in case you keep seeing me that I'm checking, I'm using the double screen, so I might be looking the other way and looking back again. We want to welcome you to this session of titled Introduction to Public Health, Emergency Safety and Sustainability. This is one of the things that the SGI of WSO Nigeria is known for, or is being aligned towards, so that at the end of the day, the issue of public health is very important to us. And of course, emergency management is very key. You will see that happenings around us in the country shows that there's a need for us to improve on our emergency skills. And of course, we need to also cascade that information down to the grassroots. And the discussion of the moment, which is sustainability, for all of us that have been in the health and safety profession for some years, you agree with me that sustainability is very key, and we can't just be left out in that. So that is what we'll be discussing this morning. And which on this panel, we have a lot of people. We have few people that we have called to come and speak to us so that we can have a very good outing. And we have the country director in person of Dr. Soji Olalokun is already on this call, and he will be giving us an introduction, just a welcoming address. When it is time, I will invite him to do that. We have Professor Mrs. Ugudu from University of Benin. She's the director for Center for SDGs. We're going to hear from her. We also have Mr. John Olalokun, who is the sustainability lead for Dangote, Tanzania. We also have Dr. Wilson Aripo, who is the Governor General for WSO SafERR Africa. So these are people that will be speaking with us. When it is time for them, there will be an introduction about them. I want to welcome you to this session. I would like you to sit tight, use the chat box for your questions, for your query, and anything you want us to know. We'll be happy to have those feedbacks. So I would like to invite the country director, Dr. Soji Olalokun, to give us his opening speech. Thank you.
Okay, just give me 1 minute. Okay, I may have to use the my mobile.
Okay. Do you need me to remove one of them?
Yes, I've removed one of them. I was trying to activate the other.
That's fine.
Fine. Okay, let me switch my audio, video. Okay, that's fine. Good afternoon. It's morning yet? Okay. If you are not in Nigeria, it may be afternoon somewhere else. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, professional colleagues. I'd like to welcome you to this auspicious day. It's a glorious day that the Lord has made, and it marks our first CPD for 2024. Okay, so that I will contain the discourse will be contained in these thoughts that I've tried to put down, so that I can be on point and open the floor for those discussing the subject matter at hand, that is PHEMSS, Public Health, Emergency Management, Safety and Sustainability. And so I'd like to welcome everybody once more, the moderator, the speakers, and everyone joining. Peradventure you joined and you notice, right now I'm seeing that we're 15 on this call. You notice somebody's having an issue joining. Please assist the person via your chats. You can direct the person you know that is not on the call, so that we can have a robust house and a robust participation. So I'm also aware there's a meeting going on via a physical meeting in Lagos. So somebody buzzed me and said is in that meeting. But however, thank God we're recording, and we have to do what we have to do, and the time is now. So I'll just go through the address and leave the floor for the speakers to elucidate on the subject matter. Welcome remark on the occasion of 2024 WSO Nigeria's SafERR Global Institute and SafERR Africa Ambassador Network, CPD, on Saturday, the 17th February 2024. Esteemed stakeholders of WSO Nigeria's SafERR Global Institute and SafERR Africa Ambassador Network, leaders, members, partners, sponsors, and very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you joyfully on behalf of the management team to today's event. We'd like to appreciate your commitment to this vision since time immemorial. Your input largely has caused us to continually innovate, strategize, and bet new ideas and concepts in furthering the calling by which we have been called to serve humanity in all its entirety. That is the SafERR African Network and SafERR Global Institutes. We have come to such a stage in our journey through life to boldly say, if you are with us in this vision, then be with us and be counted. You are not a speck in the dust. You are important to the vision. No sitting on the fence anymore. No eavesdropping. Excuses for monthly inactivity from all officers, appointed stakeholders will not be condoned going forward. No matter your schedule, we have broken down explicitly, schedules to carry out projects irrespective of the environment you operate. You can get involved directly or indirectly and still be counted. Nobody makes life alone. God has given us people, He has given us people in various regions that are animated to propagate this message to the ends of the earth. Just unbundle your internal processes. Vis-a-vis, we're talking to the governors, those that are already having one portfolio or the other. Unbundle the processes, your internal processes, and make the dream work in your region. When we walk, I walk, you walk. That's what makes the dream work. The dream cannot work without everyone putting in their contribution. Now we mean business. I haven't gotten here over the years. We are looking at the next 25 years. That is Vision 2050. That's why I said we mean business. Meaning Vision 2050 for World Safety Organization Nigeria, for SafERR Africa Ambassador Network and its affiliates vis-a-vis SafERR School, SafERR Campus, SafERR Community, our collaborations and partnerships, and the newly birthed SafERR Global Institute, which many of us will have, several roles, but only selfless and committed individuals that we have identified will be able to come on board, nationally, regionally, and internationally. We want to ultimately be counted among the committee of global organizations and networks that have made the difference in our people, in our vision, in our mission. And we are making a sincere appeal and call to all our network stakeholders. If what you are handling within your network is burdensome, that is those that are already doing one thing or the other with us. If it's burdensome, if it's discomforting, if it's stressful, if it's challenging, and otherwise, and you want to focus on other things and move on, kindly let us know, and we will respect your choice with all appreciation, humility, and trust in your sincere decision. That it means this call is a selfless call to duty. If you think what you're doing is burdensome, no problem, let us know. Other persons may just step in and fill in the gaps. This is February 2024. We want to fly, and we don't want to assume anything and leave any stone unturned. This is because the next phase of all we do requires selfless commitments to schedules, to briefings, to meetings, online, on-site, and programs, both internationally, nationally, and in all regions. Without this commitment from all stakeholders and appointees, we may not get to the defined promised land, and humanity will thus be starved. It is said that whatsoever is worth doing well. This saying cannot be more succinct as we embark on a journey to share our knowledge and resources to make our communities better. I must at this time extend our heartfelt appreciation to every stakeholder, excluding no one, for the success and progress we have gained. We truly can connect the dots of progress with you and the team looking backwards. Thank you for believing and joining in WSO vision, the SafERR vision, and now the SGI vision, promoting and supporting it by your relentless, selfless contributions, ideas, donations, supports, etc. On this note, it is my honor and privilege to once again welcome you to the very first CPD for 2024, in the wonderful year that we're launching the Vision 2050. Thank you for listening, and God bless you. Have a great deliberation today. Thank you, Mr. Alfred. I'll draw my curtains here on the remark, and you can take it up from here. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Soji, for that wonderful opening remark. And it's just a call for all of us to sit tight and enjoy this ride. And I can see that from that opening remark is a call for us to do more. It's a call for us to dedicate more to ensure that what we're doing is for humanity. And that is a very good one. Thank you so much. I leave the floor for Mr. Bayowa to take over. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Alfred. Thank you, Dr. Soji Olalokun, for the wonderful opening speech. Without wasting much time, right about now, we want to start bringing in, our amiable speakers for the day. And the first speaker we'll be having today is Professor Mrs. Ujiro Ibudu. I believe she's online with us. Prof, are you here, ma? Hello, ma. Professor Ibudu.
I can't see any name. No, I don't know, because I seems not to be able to see that name, except if she registers or she's using another name entirely. But I know Mr. John Olalokun for the sustainability is on this call.
Okay, I think what we'll do is, so that we don't waste time, we'll have to call on the other speaker. That's Mr. John Olalokun. Sorry, engineer. He will be dealing more with the ESG, the environmental, sustainability, and he's the safety and ESG director for Dangote Group in Namibia. Mr. John, are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes,
good
sir.
Afternoon,
yes.
Good morning,
Floor,
good evening.
Good to hear from you, sir. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Yes,
all right.
the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Abayowa. Just let me quickly have a little bit of Mr. John, so that we will know who is going to take the floor for us. So just a brief about Mr. John Olalokun. Mr. John Olalokun is the sustainability lead for Dangote Cement PLC in Tanzania, presently in Tanzania. So he's a dedicated professional with passion for sustainability and environmental stewardship. So Mr. John has over 18 years of experience in manufacturing sector. He has established himself as a trusted leader in promoting sustainability practice within the industry. All right, so as a sustainability lead for Dangote Cement Limited in Tanzania, John Olalokun spearheads initiative aimed at reducing environmental impact, fostering community engagement, and promoting corporate social responsibility. His expertise in geology provide a solid foundation for understanding the intricate relationship between industrial operation and environmental sustainability. John Olalokun is known for his innovative approach to addressing complex sustainability challenges, leveraging his knowledge and experience in developing strategies that balance environmental, social, and economic priorities. He is committed to driving positive change and making a lasting impact on communities and environment in which he operates. Through his leadership, John Olalokun embodies the value of integrity, accountability, and sustainability, serving as a role model for aspiring professionals in the field. Professional colleagues and all ambassadors on this call, I would like you to join me as I welcome Mr. John Olalokun for his presentation. So just give me a few minutes, then I will project his presentation. Thank you. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alfred.
Are you happy for me to share your slide, or you want to share yourself?
Okay. Yeah, you can go ahead and share. You can go ahead and share.
All right. Thank you. Yes, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, professionals, colleagues. First, I'd like to use the opportunity to thank the organizing committee, the president of WSO, the ESCOs, for inviting me over to participate in this auspicious event today, where we'll be talking about public health. We're talking about sustainability. As you rightly introduced me, my name is John Olalokun. I have a background in natural science, but at the moment I'm the sustainability lead with Dangote Cement. Currently, I'm based in Tanzania. And our topic for today, we're looking at introduction to sustainability, building a sustainable business culture. We'll be dealing basically with the fundamentals. You can go to the next slide, please. In this brief presentation, we'll be looking at our introduction, what sustainability is, why sustainability adoption, is it a no-brainer, is it worth it, the principles of sustainability, the standards, the guidelines. We'll be looking at the risk and opportunities in sustainability, non-compliance. We'll also look at a few case studies. Then also we'll be looking at entrenching sustainability culture and best practices. Then lastly, taking responsibility and ownership. Moving right along, the introduction. You see, today, as one of the speakers rightly said, we are contending globally with a lot of negative happenings, whether it be it environmental, whether social, whether economic, whether political, and all these activities affect human beings, and it also affects the environment. So because there are unprecedented challenges, this call for a change in our way of life, calls for a change in our way of perception, in our way of doing things, basically. Especially in Africa, with our rapid population, with our huge economic potentials, and dwindling resource, which is not being managed properly. This makes the subject all the more important for us, first and foremost as a continent, and before we look at even the world at large. So across the world, across Africa, Europe, Asia, America, the West, there's this consciousness about this realization that if we continue along this trajectory, we may get to a point of no return. Hence, you see that word sustainability is more or less like a buzzword today. But as we go along in this presentation, we'll drive it home and see how it really applies to us as individuals, but specifically as a business because of today's topic. Next slide, please. So we say, what is sustainability? I'm sure several of you have one idea or the other because several of you are safety professionals, health professionals, so you deal in this domain. But a very broad definition of sustainability, which is common, says that sustainability is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. It is operating in such a way that you do not infringe on the person that is coming after to be able to also operate profitably, efficiently, and then the next generation and the next generation. You may take a simple example. In the manufacturing sector, somebody is into mining. And then in mining, because it's a natural resources, all the qualities are not the same. You have different grades, the high grade, the medium grade, the low grade. And for his production, he needs a mixed grade. So what does he do? He throws away all the low grade material and takes only the best grade for his production. What happens? That impacts on the life of that mine. That impacts on the life of that resource, such that a resource that should have lasted, let's say 50 years, but because of unsustainable practice, without thinking about the future generation, that resource lasts for 10 years. And then that company closes up or is looking for raw materials somewhere else. You can go to the next slide, please. So that's just a broad definition, operating in such a way that it does not impact on future generations to also operate and be profitable. But if you go deeply as from the business approach, you can say sustainability is a business approach that creates a long-term shareholder value by embracing the opportunities and managing the risk associated with economic, environmental, and social development. This is as per PwC Sustainability Yearbook 2008. Because in development, there are opportunities and there are risks. And what sustainability tries to do is to efficiently and judiciously manage the risk while taking advantage of the opportunities, so that whether it is for economic or environmental or social, everything has a balance. Also, it means to carry out your business activities responsibly and effectively, managing operational impacts. To every business, to every operation, there are impacts, either impacts on the environment, impacts on the people, impacts even on governance. So sustainability means carrying out your activities responsibly in such a way that you are able to manage the impact. As we go deeper into the presentation, we are going to see case studies and examples of how this can be. Next, you also have engaging in business operation with conscious thought for the well-being of all key stakeholders. In any business, the staff of that establishment are the number one stakeholders. Your host community are your stakeholders. The shareholders are your stakeholders. The consumers of that product that the company is manufacturing, if it's a manufacturing sector, or if it is a service sector, the people you are rendering service to, those are your stakeholders. So sustainability says engaging in business operation with the conscious thought of the well-being of those people that you are servicing, those people who are consuming your product. It also means assessing corporate performance using a balanced scorecard lens that is looking beyond just the traditional business profit. This balanced scorecard lens is where something else will look at, where the ESG comes in, because that is actually a metric for looking at, for scoring business. But when we get there, we'll talk more. So it says traditional business profit. It's not just profit alone now. You're looking at the people, you're looking at the environment. Yes, that business is making profit, but what is its impact on the people? Are your people happy? Are you maltreating them? Are you using child labor? What about the environment? When you pollute the environment, the waterways, you cut down trees, the environment is not happy. What's your measures to mitigate those impacts? So sustainability takes a hold of all these and makes profit for the company, ensures the stakeholders are happy, and ensures the environment is well taken care of. Next slide, please. Yeah, in sustainability, there are 3 pillars. You have the economic pillars. It's like in a house, in a structural building, pillars basically are things that support the weight of any structure. It's like a foundation. So in sustainability, these 3 pillars applies. We have the economic pillar, the environmental pillar, and the social pillar. The economic pillars basically deals with a sustainable profit of that enterprise, value creation, the impact that that establishment or that business is making. However, the environmental pillar deals with you can say, carbon footprints on the planet. If you take a manufacturing sector, for instance, in the process of production, in the organizational, you can say, supply chain, before the finished goods is made, all the input raw material, the suppliers, the dealers, the procurement, those people and their activities, how is it impacting on the environment? Even the natural resources that that company is transforming into finished goods. This is a major pillar of sustainability, the environmental pillar. So it does not just deal with environment. You see the word environmental. It's not just environment. The tile there ties it with people, the impact that activity is having on people. For example, the impact of falling down trees in an uncontrollable manner without planting new trees. Yes, you are having deforestation, but what is the impact on people? So this is the environmental part of the pillar of sustainability. And also we have the social. This talks about the people that you're working with, the welfare of the people, how they are treated. Are you respecting the known laws? It also has some governance undertone here. So it says businesses would traditionally focus on just economic or financial, while neglecting environmental and social issues, because that's what most businessmen think about. They think about their bottom line only. But today, we are not just dealing with a single bottom line anymore. In sustainability, we deal with a triple bottom line. So it is profit. Yes, that is understandable. The business needs to make profit to be able to even implement some sustainability initiatives. But also, the second bottom line is the people. And the third bottom line is the planet, meaning the earth. So while E and S, which is economic and environmental and social, are always inherent in our business operations. Ignoring them means exposing the business to both internalities and externalities that could lead to failure. If the people are not happy, your host community, if they are not happy, they can shut down your operations, as you have seen in different communities, even in Nigeria, where the host community from where we're extracting oil are not happy. Some of them, they go on the waterways, kidnapping, and all sorts of vices that shuts down the company and production is halted. So a company that wants to be, a business that wants to be sustainable must think about all these, because if you shut down your production facility for even one day, the losses is in hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, depending on the kind of business outfit. Then it says this is why government, institutional investors and regulators are now very interested in the E&S risk that businesses carry. Because today investors are looking at how businesses are going to mitigate. What's the plan to mitigate this risk? Even financial lenders today are also, before they give out money, they are looking at what's your sustainability plan. Next slide, please. Yes, sustainability versus ESG. This word ESG also is very common, because when people talk about sustainability, the first thing that comes to their mind is ESG. What exactly is this ESG? Because the E there stands for environmental, the S stands for social, the G stands for governance. Unlike when we saw the three pillars, that is environmental, social, and economic. You can use both synonymously, but for ESG, it is a set of standards that sustainability conscious investors use to track and measure the performance of businesses and the investment risk that they pose based on how well or how badly they perform on ESG indicators. So it is a performance metric, more or less. For example, in the manufacturing industry where I work, because our business basically is to take raw material, basically limestone, and transform it into cement by adding other raw material. In the process of our operation, from simple chemistry, you know that limestone is calcium carbonate. And since we have to burn this limestone, it means those elements are going to disentangle, and in the process will be emitting CO2. That is, excess CO2 in the environment has an environmental impact. Also, our raw materials that we use in production, the machines working on those sites, their mining practices, the kind of effluent which they discharge into the waterways, all these have environmental impact. Then when you come down, even in the plant where the raw material is being transformed, in the different stages of transformation, there are different levels of emission. There are different machines, even radioactive machines that we use in our testing for quality testing. So all these, the impact is accounted for in our ESG reporting. Then when it comes to social, under social, we pick our workforce, our gender diversity in the totality of the workforce, male against versus female. How many females do we have? According to the United Nations, the minimum should be 30% of your workforce should be female. Are you meeting that social standard? Then in your senior management, you should have senior management is for some institution, maybe from grade 11, from grade 12 and above. You should have a minimum of 20 to 26% female. Do you have that balance? So whatever score you have there, you're going to put it there. Then in governance, when it comes to bribery and corruption, how many bribery and corruption cases did you record within the reporting period? What about litigation? How many litigation cases? What exactly are the cases? Have they been settled? Your community engagement. How many community engagements did you have? What are they about? Community grievances. What are the community grievances? Under social, we even have things of health and safety, your number of fatality, your lost time injury, that's what they call LTI, your fire incidents. All these, if you see the ESG assessment sheet, is a very long and robust sheet on which you have to report every month. And all these reports is being collected, even your water management, because as a manufacturing company, we use a lot of water in our different stages of production. And for water management, there's a minimum value that has been set per every ton of cement that you produce. There's a minimum amount of water which you should not exceed, which we call the water intensity. For us, it's about 200 liters per ton of cement. Are you exceeding it? If you are, what are you doing to bring it back to the minimum? All these data are being collated, and next I will tell you what we do with that. But this is just a simple picture of the ESG assessment for a manufacturing company like a cement plant. So you can see I've spoken about all those, the S and the G. You see the G talk about the governance, business leadership, ethics, internal control, your audits, your risk management, regulatory compliances. Yes, that is very important also, your regulatory compliances. Are you compliant with your tax remittances? If it's a mining company, you have your mining, all your different licenses, your business license, your mining licenses. Are you compliant with that? Your royalties, are you compliant in remitting royalties on time? All these indices are being picked up under the ESG of the company. So the ESG is just like a slate that shows the company for what it is, right from its production up till its finished goods. It even looks at the internals of the company, how the company treats the workers, and the governance of the company, and how the company also relates with the government and with the laws, the laws that govern that establishment. So today it says all major institutions, investors, they use the ESG scorecard and performance as a critical investment decision yardstick, because you see banks today, they are trying to see what kind of industry are you in. Okay, it's an industry that has a lot of carbon footprint. What measures have you taken? For instance, they ask us, how many trees have you planted this year? How many trees are you planning to plant next year? What's your tree planting plan? Because we know that, yes, you are emitting carbon, but you need to do something to mitigate it. And one approach you can take there is tree planting. And there are certain trees that are known to be very good carbon sink. It means they absorb a lot of carbon dioxide. They store some of them in their roots, in their branches, in their stems, and in their roots. But most of them goes into the ground. So that is one of the levers companies take for decarbonization. Next slide, please. Yeah. Then next, we move to the broad ESG issues. These are issues that sustainable business should be concerned about. There we're looking at the well-being of the business, meaning the business sustainability, the well-being of the people, the human rights issue, equity issues, fairness, good labor practices, your host community, your health and safety. This is more or less just talking about looking at what I said before when we were looking at the other slide. Your reputation and social license to operate, because the community where your business is, your host community there, their acceptance of your business is like a social license for you to operate. Even when the government backs you, if the people in the immediate host community are unfriendly to you, maybe because of the practices of the business, it will be very difficult to operate sustainably. So the activities that the companies carry out through the different departments, like the social performance, or so in some companies they have it as CSR department, the community engagement, the corporate social responsibility, reaching out and to meeting the needs of the immediate community where you operate. Even when the government wants to take actions against the company, if the immediate and if the host community are in league with that company, it will be very difficult for the government to even take action. And regulators and those that assess ESG performance, they take note of things like this because they look at other metrics to see how a company is performing. For instance, community grievances. If on the metric, your community grievances keeps going up, and the number of grievances that are being resolved month in, month out is not increasing in terms of percentage, it means something is wrong. So the ESG, the sustainability expert in such a company will want to dive deep to really understand what the issue is, because at the end of the day, it's going to affect the scorecard of that company. It says the well-being of the physical environment. This talks about your emissions, your pollution, deforestation, and biodiversity loss. In mining, because you have to clear the forest in order to expose the raw material, there's biodiversity loss. What is the plan for that biodiversity and relocation? The legal and regulatory compliances, this comes under governance, which is G. Corporate governance, leadership, the board oversight, anti-corruption, responsible tax payment, etc. So all these innovation for business continuity, these are the broad issues that company are concerned about when it comes to sustainability, or should be concerned about when it comes to sustainability. Next slide, please. Now, for business sustainability, 3 Ps and the balanced scorecard. Remember, I talked about in the past, businesses have been used to a single bottom line. So they talk about the profit. But in sustainability, there's something we call the 3 Ps. So this, not just the profit alone, but the people. And you see the way it is arranged there, the people, the planet, and then the profit. The people deals with the impact on your employees. Those are your first stakeholders. Next, your host community. Then your customers, or the people you're rendering services to. Then the larger society. Then the planet, that's the impact on the earth, on the environment, on the natural resources which the company is exploiting in the course of the business operation. Are you mining in a sustainable way? Are you producing a lot of waste in your mining operation such that it will impact on the lifespan of the resource? Is there something you can do by mixing the high grade and the low grade in order to achieve what you want so that you can extend the lifespan of your resource? Because you see, we call these things natural resource, like oil, like limes, whether be it solid mineral or liquid mineral, as it were, or even gaseous minerals. They are not renewable because it takes millions of years for them to form new ones are not forming, as it were. So what we have, what God has put there for us, we must manage effectively. We must use it judiciously for the benefit of the world at large. Then before we talk about the profit, a sustainable profit, because without profit, actually, the company will not be able to do what it needs to do, whether it is governance, whether it's for people. So with good profit, the company has the wherewithal to be able to execute its sustainability initiatives for either be it for community or for governance. It said when businesses consider the first two non-financial issues as part of their performance appraisal strategy, it says then the business is said to have achieved a balanced scorecard. So the first two are more important than the profit, because that is where you have your highest rating as a business, the people, and the environment. The profit helps you achieve the other two, depending on what initiative you want to carry out. It says consideration of just profit is imbalanced and can tilt the business dangerously to the detriment of its long-term growth and survival. Yes, any community issue can lead to the closure of that company. And then where would the profit be at that time? It will be zero. Any issue with government can lead to a closure of the company. If the company violates the laws of the land, they can close the company up. What will happen to the profit at that point in time? So you see that the other two P's are actually more important than the profit, even though you need the profit to be able to execute them. But the message here is the mindset for board members of a company, for employees of a company, that what we are doing, we must treat people rightly. We must do what we need to do regarding gender balance, regarding equity, regarding equality. We must do what we need to do concerning the environment. If we pollute the environment, we must take actions to clean it up, because future generations should be able to also operate in a profitable manner the same way we are operating today. And that's what sustainability is all about. The next slide, please. It says why sustainability adoption is a no-brainer. Is it really a no-brainer? We'll see, because here we would look at some business case for sustainability. For those in health and environment and safety, with respect to waste management. Okay, let's take the business case for sustainability. That is meeting the growing demand for ESG savvy consumers and investors. It helps to meet that growing demand, because a lot of investors are looking out for a company that has sustainability at heart, so that they can put their money into it. Even banks, financial institutions, some of them, they have it as a policy that we cannot give you money if you do not have clear-cut sustainability endeavor as a company. They cannot loan you money. Then cost saving. Sustainability practices, at the end of the day, helps to reduce costs. It leads to cost saving, because if it is resource efficiency, a business can better manage its resource because it's thinking about the future. Instead of generating a lot of waste, it can operate in a sustainable way whereby it can reduce its waste and instead turn those waste through co-processing, put them back into the line of production. At the end of the day, that is a cost saving that leads to production efficiency. Then mitigation of reputational risk and negative publicity. As we said, your host community even the press. They can give you a bad name, and once a company has a bad name, that immediately affects its business and its profitability. Then environmental responsibility and regulatory compliance. Yes, because when a company has a sustainable business culture, by default, that business will find itself being compliant with the local laws that govern the establishment and the running of such business. Because we're talking ESG, the governance part, they will be compliant. Then peaceful coexistence with the host community, we've talked about that, the social license, the reputational capital, public goodwill, and brand loyalty and market share. Because there are several consumers, especially in the West, who are also sustainability conscious. Some of them, they choose brand of companies that they know have sustainability practice. They want to purchase more of that brand compared to a company that does not have a good sustainability practice. Then it also leads to sustainable growth and profit. The image, okay, then the sustainable business model generates and sustains profitability. From this slide, you can see there the percentage that are saying sustainability added profit. You say, is there a business case for sustainability? You can see 60%, which is a 200% increase. Those who are saying, yes, there is a business case for sustainability compared to the 20% who are saying no. So the world definitely is tilting towards sustainability. It has been tilting for a while now. Even now, the intensity is increasing as with every passing year, and the financial lenders, the governments of the world are making laws, putting laws in place that ensures this. You can see one of the point there. It says spend less on production resources and raw material. A sustainable business spend less. For example, for us here, because cement manufacturing is really energy intensive, more than 30–40% of your costing goes into energy. So what do? In some countries where the cost of energy is very expensive, energy there, we're talking about gas, or for some countries, coal, though not environmental friendly, but that is what is available there. So what will they do? What will such a business do to show a sustainable practice? They can use alternative fuel like we do in the group. You take biomass and non-biomass alternative fuel such that instead of using gas to generate energy in the kiln where the raw materials are being burned for a cement business, instead of using only gas or coal, you can put in alternative fuel. You can put in waste material, municipal waste that are combustible. You can use that. And by so doing, you're reducing, if it is coal, you're reducing the amount of coal that you need, thereby reducing the CO2 impact of that fuel because you're using biomass or non-biomass fuel. So what would that do? It will make you to spend less on energy. What would that also do? It will make you reduce your waste. Because in a cement plant, everything, even the waste you're generating, becomes useful. They can be burnt in the kiln. The kiln in a cement plant is a cylindrical device where burning takes place. The raw material are feeded into it with temperatures above 1,400 degrees centigrade. Different raw materials at that temperature, chemical reaction takes place for the formation of clinker, which is the next thing to cement. So To generate that amount of heat, you can burn anything inside as a fuel, as long as it doesn't affect the quality of your product. But for us, we burn almost everything, apart from radioactive and explosive material. But every other waste, be it municipal, be it paper waste, plastic waste, but biomass, can be burnt in the kiln. That way, we reduce our waste. The other points are there: reduce litigations, regulatory liabilities, attract investors, and cheaper cost of funding, because your interest rates on the loans, they give very attractive interest rates for companies that are sustainability conscious. Then attract and retain the best brain, because to actually run a company with the sustainability consciousness, you need people who are sound in managing different things, as I talked about, using alternative energy, alternative sources of waste to generate energy. Next is this slide that takes a sneak peek at different companies, one with a weak ESG performance and the other with a strong ESG performance, how they have done over the years from 1992 through 2010. You can see from the graph, the red signifies the companies with a very strong ESG performance. Their financial performance has also been increasing year in, year out, which is much better than companies with weak ESG performance. Same thing when it comes to investors and stakeholders, their interest in the ESG scorecard from this slide here, which is from the Ethical Fund Global Study of 2011. It shows us the way stakeholders rate different things. For example, you look at the first item there, financial returns. You see, very important, is the green color code there, 60%. And then somewhat important, 32%. At the end of the day, out of 100%, 92, there's a 92% interest from stakeholders and investment on this financial return metric. Next, we'll just take one more. The environmental, no, can you go back, please? The environmental evaluation, you can see 88%, and so on and so forth. They are all above 70% for all this metric. This lets us know the importance that investors and stakeholders attach to ESG performance and sustainability consciousness. Next slide, please. Yeah, sustainability principles, standards, and guidelines. Here, you can go to the next slide. Basically, this just x-rays the laws and the regulations for different countries around performance of businesses when we look at ESG performance and sustainability. Some of them are global, some of them are national. So because of the high risk that poor environmental and social practice would pose to human and societal well-being, business sustainability is no longer left at the discretion of businesses. Before now, it was left to businesses whatever they can do. Different countries are now mandating it as a policy. Before you establish your business, they want you to use at least 20% renewable energy, for example. Some countries, like over in Tanzania, their decarbonization roadmap is 30% decarbonization by 2030. Now they are mandating different industries that have huge carbon footprint, for which the cement industry is one of them. They want you to set your roadmap for decarbonization. Otherwise, you will be slapped with the carbon tax, which is already there anyway. There's a 1% carbon tax on the production for cement plants here in Tanzania. So 1% tax on your total production. So you see different ways through which governments and even global body, like you can see there on point number 4, the United Nations Global Compact, GRI, GCCA, which is Global Cement and Corporate Association, and even the financial lenders, the IFC, they also have standards which those who want to benefit from their services must comply with. And even the Nigerian Stock Exchange, they also have guidelines which businesses must comply with. So it is no longer left to the business owner alone. It is now a regulatory requirement. So it is important for businesses to really be mindful of this and how they are going to implement their ESG assessment and rating, their scorecard. So ESG rankings, ratings, and demands from sustainability savvy investors, they say it puts further pressure on businesses to act ESG responsibly. So now it is no longer by choice, it is now almost by compulsion. It is the right thing to do, and it is the regulatory thing to do. So the different sustainability principles and standards are being coordinated or supervised by this different body, which you can see their logo here, the Global Reporting Initiative, the Nigerian Stock Exchange in the case of Nigeria, the GCCA, which is the Global Cement and Concrete Association. They are setting out a roadmap for all cement and concrete, all plants in the cement and concrete industry to adopt a decarbonization roadmap for 2030 and 2050. According to the GCCA, they should hit net zero by 2050. And now the roadmap is almost finalized. Sometime in this year, all cement plants will be given that roadmap because they've all been given the opportunity to develop the roadmap. It is being reviewed by the GCCA for approval, and then implementation and monitoring would start. So you can see the IFC there. Here you can have other regulatory bodies like NIMASA, the Federal Ministry of Environment, and so on and so forth. Next slide, please. So the risk and opportunities in sustainability. What happens when there is non-compliance? Does the company go scot-free? It says, if not effectively managed, E&S issues are arising from business operations would expose a business to the following risk. First, there is the regulatory infringement with punitive fines and penalties. Some of these fines can be very stiff. It can lead to lawsuits, a loss of market share and competitiveness, disruption of operations, even the public health and safety risk, reputational damage, negative publicity and loss of public goodwill, inability to attract and retain the best talent, because there are some employees that are also ESG conscious, that if your company, your business demonstrates lack of care for the environment or for social or for governance, they will just turn in their resignation. And then loss of social license to operate. We'll be looking at some very important case study. This one we are very familiar with in Nigeria. Ogoni completely rejects oil resumption under any guise. So these people have been, of course, we all know the story of the Niger Delta. the injustice that has happened there for long, and how those people have been forsaken. Of course, corruption has a part to play. And now the host community are telling you no more. So when it gets to this stage, it becomes very difficult. That company has lost their social license to operate. Next, you can see another case study there. This has to do with MTN that incurred a very hefty fine because of a breach on ESG on commitment. This has to do with their SIM registration. You can see 11.3 billion dollars sanction for non-compliance. So some of these fines can be so hefty. That is why businesses are also taking it very seriously. Next, case study number 3. This has to do with the cement industry, because you see, some of you will remember back in the days, most cement bags are made of paper. But nowadays we have bags made of PPP, which is a form of plastic. And now after the cement is used, the empty cement bags are constituting pollution. So the effort here by this company is to produce a biodegradable bag that can be used as an input material, even in the concrete mix. So even after using the cement, you can fold the bag and throw it in, and it will be an input material. So this is one effort this company has taken to reduce or to combat this waste. Next slide, please. So entrenching sustainability culture and best practices. How do we drive the culture of sustainability? Because first, it starts with a mindset. First there, it said to designate sustainability champions to oversee and handle all sustainability-related affairs in each department and function. A business must have a sustainability department, and you must have people who we call champions that are supervising your sustainability indices and metrics. They are collecting data, they are recording the data. Then number 2, to drive sustainability from board and top management level and cascade it down to all employees, because the business owners, those in the board of directors, they are the one that regulates the temperature, as it were, of the company. If you have the buy-in of the board to think sustainability in their business approach, that mindset, that culture would definitely trickle down even to the last employee. Then to identify material sustainability issues and determine performance status. So this is like doing a sustainability assessment, having a baseline and a gap analysis. So every business must do this. Then next, to establish metrics for tracking. For a cement plant, you can say you're tracking the CO2 emission from your stack. You're tracking the amount of AGO that the vehicles are using. You're tracking the amount of coal that you're buying and you're using for production. You are tracking the amount of the number of turnover. You are tracking the number of regulatory fines that you received in a month, in a quarter. You are tracking bribery and corruption cases. So all this must be established and defined. Then number 5, to create awareness and organize training and workshops on sustainability. Your staff members must be aware. They must be conscious about it, because when more people are aware, it makes the job easier, both for the business and even for the champions. And you will not have the negative impact that not being compliant normally brings. Then develop a 3 to 5 year performance enhancement plan to address the identified ESG challenges, because definitely you would observe some challenges, but that is not an issue. The challenge is not the issue. The issue there is, what's your plan? So there must be a 3 to 5 year plan on how you plan to address it. For example, in the cement industry, there is a plan to reduce CO2 to a certain percentage by 2030 and by 2050. What are the actions that will be taken? One of it, for example, can be to put in place, this is a CAPEX initiative, to put in place, what is it called now? To put in place a raw material, a mechanized waste feeding system, because in the areas where we live, they generate a lot of municipal waste. Now, to feed this waste into the kiln, you must have an infrastructure to do that, and that's cost money. So the company must plan how to get the CAPEX, how to start the construction, when it will start, when it will be implemented, and the payback period. Then number 7, to build sustainability KPIs into the performance management system to drive ownership and commitment. Yes, that is very important. Then to integrate, number 8, environmental ESG into business strategy for easy operationalization across the enterprise. Then number 9, to develop a sustainability implementation and reporting plan that reflects the adherence to regulatory principles and relevant sustainability framework. So from that ESG report template, once you're able, first of all, to do an assessment of your ESG, looking at your business, all your supply chain, all the stakeholders, you list out all the different matrices. From that, you're able to design your ESG template, things you're going to report on. Once you have developed that, it says you develop a sustainability implementation and reporting plan. So for us, the reporting plan is a monthly reporting plan where we capture all our ESG matrices. Then number 10, to mobilize all staff to participate in, okay, this is, as a business, you should have, we're encouraged to have a sustainability week whereby you drive in the sustainability message to all your stakeholders, be it your immediate employee and your other stakeholders. So taking responsibility and ownership, because the time to act is now. So as sustainability champions, as safety champions, as HSC experts and leads, we must first understand that the key ESG issues in our business and operations, we must understand what are the issues. When we don't know what the issues are, what the challenges are, we cannot have a plan to solving it. So by that, first is to know our business. What's the impact on people? What's the impact on planet? What's the impact on the economy? That is an issue. Then next, we get involved and then participate. Play your part in bringing about the change that you desire to see. Oh, you want to see afforestation. Now you have to be a part of it. How many trees are you going to plant per month, per quarter? Say, get involved and participate in sustainability initiatives and programs. Take ownership. You drive it in your industry, in your business, in your company. Then sensitize and mobilize our teams and colleagues for positive action, because no single person is an island. We all operate in communities, and one person can do this much, 2 or 3 people can do even much more. So we must come together, synergize, so that we are able to make a greater impact, even with our little effort put together. Then engage business leadership and support positive change. We must engage. The business leaders are the decision makers. So they must buy in. That's why we said, get the board, get the business owners to buy into ESG. Once they buy into ESG, then it is easy to cascade it down. It says, note, building a sustainable brand is our collective responsibility and not to be left for the business leaders alone. So even you may not be a business leader, you may be an employee in that company. It is your responsibility. He said we all have a role to play in our different departments, in our different functions, whether as HSE professionals, we all have a role to play in building a sustainable business and a sustainable environment. So this is just a brief of sustainability, what it entails, how we can drive it in our different businesses and companies. If there are questions, you can ask, but this is all for now. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much, Mr. John Olalokun. You've really done a big justice to ESG. I'm part of ESG myself, but I've also, seen a lot of light to areas where you've made more clear, especially with reference to how we operate here in Nigeria. Thank you so much. I wouldn't know at this time if we have people with questions. We're gonna give room for just 5 minutes questions so that we can attend to that before the next speaker comes in. So while the next speaker is getting ready, we'll be able to actually, answer a few questions. I have slots for just 3 people for now. So please just kindly, raise your hand. Let me see your hand on the icon while I tell Mr. Ajao to unmute you. Do we have questions? Do we have questions? I'm trying to flip through. Okay, what we have majorly here is thank you messages, Okay, somebody is asking for presentation materials. We'll work at, getting that ready. A lot of people are actually commenting on the presentation. So once more, we want to say a very big thank you to Mr. John Olalokun. We'll still do a vote of thanks before we end this
Sorry,
CPD.
Mr. Bayowa, I think somebody is raising his or her hand.
Okay, I've been trying to check through. Let me check again. Can you unmute the person, Mr. Ajao?
I saw the hands, but I can't see that.
Because all I'm seeing here are hands clapping, saying thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, I can see Ugo Chuku.
Sir?
Can you unmute yourself, please?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone from Lagos, Nigeria. I actually just wanted to make a request for the slides. I think the presentation was very superb. I followed all through, but having the slides would serve as a good reminder. I just wanted to say that before I realized somebody had said it in the comment already.
Yeah, thank you. We'll work around getting the slides available. The moment I know most of us filled with our email, so if you registered, you are likely going to get the slides, but I can't guarantee those who didn't register. So, but I think it's good. The moment you register, your email will be available to us and we'll be able to get the slides across to you. Thank you. Do we still have any other questions before we move ahead? Now, do we have Dr. Aripo in the house? Has he been able to join us, Dr. Ajao?
Yes, Dr. Wilson is here.
Okay.
If you look closely, you will see me.
Okay. Now, let me just, I know most of us know Dr. Wilson Aripo, but he's also our SGI coordinator and the Governor General for SafERR Africa under the World Safety Organization. So, Doctor, sir, he's also a minister of the gospel, he's a pastor. So, but I know he's standing in here as a safety professional. So, good to see you, sir. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you so very much. God bless you real good. I appreciate you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. And I've been on all days listening. But let me first thank Mr. John Olaloku. Wonderful. Thank you for that presentation. You did a good job of it, and we are proud to have you here. I think I have also the discussion of saying, you go nowhere. Tanzania, here we come. How about that? Will you reply us now? Mr. John Olaloku, Tanzania, here we come. You've done a great job representing us over there in Tanzania, and it's a wonderful time to know you're around. Thank you so very much. God bless you. I want to thank everybody who's online right now, right now listening, because this serves also as an assessment, the CPD for all SGI members, you know, all over the world joining in. We are able to talk about these issues. You heard the country director saying things earlier on, and for us, that's where we are going. Public health is very important, and of course, emergency management. Right now, we're talking of emergency management in this session, and there are things that we all probably know around, but information, when it is given out effectively, when people will have opportunity of listening and hearing it, the things you know already comes alive. They come alive because you know them already. But the discourse like this is to bring us to remembrance of the things we know. And of course, knowledge will be added. So we'll talk about introduction to emergency management at all times. Emergency, of course, is that thing that you do not plan to happen, but that has to happen, just like accidents. Anyway, and so you want to ask yourself, are you ready? Are you prepared? Why are we here? Why is the WSO project, the SafERR Africa project, and this SGI Institute so keen on these topics? You see, it's a phrase that has come up and is coming to stay. We are all part of this system, and I just want to crave our indulgence that will make it work. My phrase is, let's work to make it work. Emergency management, you have to understand, just like the Boy Scouts of those days, those of us who were privileged to be part of the Boy Scout movement, you know, the motto of the Boy Scout is be prepared. Be prepared. So when we're talking about emergency management today, we want to remember that single motto, the two-word motto that says be prepared. And every time there's the intention to be prepared, it makes us better people, very visionary indeed, when we are prepared. Emergency management starts from being prepared. So when we talk about emergency management, is to bring our consciousness to the things we need to do or what it takes to be prepared as emergency responders. Remember, every SafERR ambassador is a safety and emergency response ready ambassador, which means in our different localities, we will find ourselves, we are always going to respond to emergencies, as it were. Very, very key, very, very important that we know that as a people. Very, very important we know that as a people. And that's what has brought us here today now. Let's consider the things there. If you see where we are, emergency response and preparedness and response is a key thing to consider. We want to make it dynamic within the time we have to know that the things you know will bring to the fore. The Bible I read and I understand clearly says in Proverbs chapter 21, verse 31, the day I saw that scripture, I got very excited. I began to ruminate over so many things. It says this, the horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord. The horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord. It got me thinking. So, okay. So though safety is of the Lord, he gives us safety every time he watches over us. but the horse must still be prepared. That's preparation comes in. You cannot do anything. Failure to plan is already a plan to fail. And so as people, as emergency responders, it's our job to always, it's never too much to always say to people, I am prepared. This is what to do to be prepared. As an individual, as a family, as a body, as a business, as a community. And so I'll be using the word community in most of my discourse today, because community has to do not only with your environment where you live in, even your home is a community. Yourself, your wife, your children, then come out to your neighbors on the streets, the landlords association, if you belong there, or residents association. Anywhere you find yourself, it is to make people know that I am a responder, an emergency responder. An emergency responder is the one who will not allow things happen, suddenly, without anticipating it. That means you are proactive. We are not being just reactive. Unfortunately, we'll say it over and over again. We've said it times without number. In Nigeria, there is always a tendency to be reactive as a government. And so we've been pushing it to the government in different strata, different places. They must be proactive. When you have a proactive society, of course, things will go as planned. Now, we will have to leave it out of the government and come to the point where we now get to understand that emergency response, preparedness and response is not left for government alone. It's left for us as individuals. We have to know. That's why we are a people, as ambassadors. Start it in that little corner where you are. We are being kitted and given enough information and enough materials to be advocates of safety. Today, we're talking about the public health, emergency management, safety and sustainability. Environment is in all that, as it were. And if you leave this topic today or this workshop today, and you understand what PHEMSS is all about, the dimension of our discourse will be different. To achieve this, we definitely know we must be prepared, because our job is to save lives. In every dimension. Ultimately, how can we save lives, save the environment, and save the people? It is in the different diversity of the things happening around us. Even in the midst of adversities, when you are on top of the game already ahead of time, it will be easy to react faster and better.
All right, Doctor, please,
yes,
just a minute.
Okay.
Mr. Olalokun may want to leave, and I think he has another engagement. We just want to quickly do this presentation of certificate for his presentation. Mr. Abayawa, can you confirm you can see it?
I can see it also from here.
All right, please, as the GG, please, can you just, I think I saw.
Is there, okay.
I saw the deputy, Mrs. Monica, in the house. I think she's still there. If she can unmute and do the presentation of the certificate. Is she here? I think I saw her. Yes, she's in.
Madam Monica, kindly unmute yourself.
If she is not available, Dr. Julius can make the presentation.
Okay.
That's right.
I think I saw Dr. Julius also.
Our programs, that's right.
Dr. Julius, please kindly unmute yourself.
All right. Okay. I think I can see Madam Agarese. I think I can see her on this call. Can you do that?
Beautiful. There.
Are they having challenges? I think everybody should be able to unmute themselves.
Yes.
Okay. Madam Monica says she can't unmute where she is at the moment. Okay.
Mr. Alfred, just go ahead and
all
make
right,
the presentation.
that's fine. Thank you so much for all the ambassadors and doctors that have called. I know you are very busy. I'm sorry for putting you on spot because we didn't tell you ahead of time. Oh, Mr. I wanted to say doctor. I think probably he's also a doctor in the making. John Olaloku, thank you so much for this topic where you gave us an introduction into sustainability. Let me, on behalf of WSO Nigeria and SafERR Africa Ambassador Network, and on behalf of the SGI Global Institute, we want to say thank you for that wonderful presentation. The accolade we got at the back end shows that it was indeed a session that people will always remember. So we want to say thank you for this session where you speak to us on sustainability on the 17th of February 2024. And we want to say thank you. And we hope that when we call you once again, because it's a discussion that we continue.
Ongoing.
We hope
That's right.
you will also be obliged us to join us next time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, Mr. Alfred. Thank you very much to the director, and thank you very much to everyone on the call. Thanks for the opportunity to share the knowledge I have in this regard. And like you requested, I'll be happy to avail myself again when called upon. So a big thank you to everyone. Thank you for the certificates. I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right.
Thank you. So this will be sent to you via your email. Thank you. Thank you so much, and see you soon. So DG, please, I will share your screen again and continue. Thank you.
Oh, congratulations, Mr. General Olaloku. That's a good one. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. We are right back on there. This is what we do as emergency responders. We should be able to go up there. No, I think we should go back to the previous one. We should always be able to, yes. I know we're almost done with that because we are refreshing. Those who are joining again should see that. So we need to achieve our goals, the goals of PHEMSS. It's a vocabulary that's come to stay with us. So it is for public health, emergency management, of course, safety and sustainability. That's talking to the environment also. Thereby saving lives. We must always be what? Be prepared to save lives anywhere we find ourselves. Our jobs diversity takes us into different areas where there are adversities. Some of us walk right deep into the forest. Some people walk on the masts. They go about climbing heights and need rigging drills, as it were. So many people walk across the waters, like when Mr. Olaloku was presenting, he talked about MTN and the fines they had to slam on them. Now, if you see the video of those who have to go and walk at those kind of heights, I mean, it's a wonderful job to know. You must be prepared ahead of time. We cover all those areas in the institute, and it's a good thing that we are getting the training continuously. So as emergency responders, it's our job to be high premium level of understanding, every high level of planning, high level of preparedness. We can't afford to do without preparedness. That's what it's all about. Emergency management has to do with anticipating the problem before it gets to happen. Emergency management has to do with planning. Of course, in management has to do with planning, basically. So you need to plan and plan and plan again and do your replanning. You can hear from the speech earlier on delivered. Our job is to keep on learning. We will learn, unlearn to relearn. And so this is a process to relearn and add knowledge to it. A wise man once said, preparing for crisis is like buying insurance policy. You hope you never need it. But when, and if you do, it will save your skin. It will save you the blushes. I had a friend also, because I also consult for insurance companies, I had a friend who said of his clients, because he's a broker, who had insurance cover for his car, a Porsche car for over 8 years. He kept paying premium and there was never an accident. And of course, he had value for money because they kept removing percentages over time. On the 9th year, when he said he didn't need to pay premium anymore, just because he had never had an accident, never had made a claim, the friend begged him, said, "No, I'm not going to pay premium." And he took himself off the cover. Unfortunately, a week after, that car was involved in a ghastly motor accident, and it was almost a write-off. As a matter of fact, it was badly damaged. The guy couldn't use it again. He came crying to his friend that he just lost his car. What will he do? His friend clearly told him that, of course, I remember I warned you about these things. Why not keep it going? He said, "Please, can you help me talk to the insurance company? If they could give me a rebate." That was when he understood the value, because at that time, the car was valued for over 20 million or thereabout, and what he was paying as premium, of course, would be like 10% of that. Thankfully for him, his friend, who was a broker, without informing him, did not cancel his cover. He left the cover on, but without telling him he had not canceled the cover. The friend had paid on his behalf for that year, as if he knew. It became like a prophet to him, because that was the year his car had an accident. And so that's what it takes to plan and put all these things in place. You may never need contingency plan in your mind. You never will have an accident, or nobody plans for an accident, by the way. They just come. They are things that must just come when they have to come. Of course, accidents are unwanted occurrences. Same thing with emergencies. We'll see along the line, why do you need to be ready and be prepared ahead of time for emergencies? What's emergency management? Definitely. There's a man in the University of Washington in Seattle, USA. He defined emergency management as the process by which communities identify hazards. You see, he used the word community, and that was very good for me. Communities identify hazards to which they are exposed and potential impact that this hazard will inflict or create for them. So as a community in a family, at your home, as a father, mother, child of a family, the things you plan for the family is very, very important. And you become on top of the game if you have an emergency plan already. When I was building, I remember they kept saying to me, "Why are you putting too many doors? Why are your windows this size?" Some little things that are not in normal houses, as it were. I remember saying, so I almost had a bit of talk on that. My wife, you don't understand what should be an extra door somewhere. I say, because in Nigeria, you are used to building houses that have just 2 doors. You will see a big duplex, mighty house having just 2 doors. One from the parlor that takes you to the living room, and the other one, the exit door through the kitchen or the pantry somewhere at the back. No other doors. So it's easy to know, and the doors are maybe 3 feet at the kitchen side and 4 feet on the main door, 4.5 feet. And it's just almost like a routine. Nobody's thinking outside the box. And if you live on the ground floor, you're going to be having burglary proofs, of course, solid state burglary proofs that will not be moved or that cannot be unlocked. So if there's going to be any incident of fire, flooding or something, anything that traps you in the house, you're not able to come out except through the doors. If the doors are jammed, the windows are useless, because it's all about safety and security meeting themselves somewhere. And security seems to take over safety in most cases in our minds. So those kind of things, when you know ahead of time, you could plan. You could plan to have adjustable burglary proofs, openable ones that you could actually slide down and use a staircase to go over your window. You could slide them down. Or you could just open them to one side and lock it back, and nobody from outside will ever get to know that that burglary proof is indeed movable or openable in any form. And part of it is to have the sacred understanding of keeping the mouth sealed at any point in time, because you don't go talking your stories to people. Part of emergency planning is that you don't tell your stories to those who shouldn't hear it anyway. In particular, communities must implement hazard mitigation plans. You must have what you call disaster disaster preparedness, as it were, emergency response plans, and disaster recovery actions, the plans that must be done to ensure that you manage all vulnerability around you. Because if you don't know what hazards are, if you don't know what you are vulnerable to, it becomes difficult to even know what you are going to be managing, first and foremost. So you must evaluate your emergency management system. I like using the family unit first. How many of us have told our family members what we know about safety? How many of us have carried our wives and husbands along? How many of us have gone home, for instance, and even done a playful practical of what you know of first aid, as simple as first aid is, with your spouses or with your children, and let them have hands-on with you? You know, how many of us have given them books to read? How many of us have fire extinguishers in our homes? It's a direct question to us as emergency responders. Because if we don't understand the proactiveness and importance of these things in our cars, in our homes, and the rest of them, I mean, it will be difficult to have the right knowledge to impact on others what we know already. And that's very, very key for me to say right now. You know, because I've seen many of people. I was able to give a training to some people, a federal government facilitator, by the way, a few years up to last year, you know, and by the time we took them through fire drills, they confessed all of them who came for the for the training had never handled one extinguisher before all their lives. The things are in their offices there, they see them there. Some have it in their cars, they don't even know how to operate them. You know, so when there's an emergency, they will not even know what to do. I have said this before, on my way in Lagos, traveling through the streets of Lagos, a car caught fire. The man came out with his extinguisher. He had one quite okay, but he wasted it because he didn't know the principles of using an extinguisher. The simple pass, you know, principle, PASS. He didn't know how to pull the pin. When he did pull the pin eventually, he didn't know how to aim. He just squeezed without aiming. And by the time he squeezed and was spraying around just into the air, and breeze took it, he almost got blinded himself because he was facing the wrong direction of the wind. You know, people came and tried to use sachet water and other things around to mitigate the effect of that fire. Thankfully, I had mine in the car. And it was as simple as, because you're trained, went straight to the point, the source of the fire, took my time to bend low, and one squeeze, we're able to extinguish it from the source. And that helped the other one to go off quite faster and easily. And they were like thanking me like I was an angel who came to the rescue. But the truth is, because I knew what to do. If you don't know what to do and you have an extinguisher with you, when emergency comes, your mind will not be right to know how to even use it, where to place it. And that's very, very important, you know, you get to know. You tell your family about how to use the gas at home. Have we done drills on how to extinguish fire from the gas if gas explodes or if a flame comes up? Those are things we need to consider in the plan. I don't just want just the book work alone. How many of us who have our compounds to ourselves really have our our gas cylinders outside the home, outside the kitchen? I know it's difficult for those who live in simple apartments, you know, normal 2-bedroom flat, 3-bedroom flat, where because of security, you keep your extinguishers inside your kitchen. That's very, very, we know. So you have to be able to know that you have to work and have a maintenance relationship with the emergency management agencies around you to plan, to know what to do and what not to do. Emergency management is a personal responsibility. It's a local responsibility. Emergency management is your responsibility. It's a grassroots thing, you know, and that's what it all points out to. It's a grassroots thing. And once it's a grassroots thing, and which is what we believe in here, it's our job to save lives and property. It's our job to save our environment. It's our job to save our businesses. You know, so when you are prepared and you're ready to manage stuff early enough, it's in your hands. It's not out of your hands yet. That we have to get to know. So we have to lead the way and show the way to go. Very, very key. That's a local responsibility that we own when disaster does occur. You know, the federal government is far from you. The state government is far. In fact, the local government is still far from you. Definitely. So the first responder should be you. That's why we want to be a local thing. We want everybody to get to know what to do under emergencies, how to act, how to respond, you know, how to create volunteer groups in schools, in the environment, not just having vigilante groups that we're waiting on robbers and other kind of people. Vigilante groups, wardens who will be able to know what to do. Should there be fire? Should there be flood? Should there be natural disasters or even man-made disasters? Whatever it takes to be, you are the first responder. A man like Fisher in Fisher 2008 made that clear. And I loved what he said. And so I had to scoop from that. Say, indeed, local volunteers and emergent groups are often the first responders in a disaster. And that's what that man Fisher said in 2008. And that is still very profound till now. So when you have community hazard strategies, you can know how individuals will implement these strategies in their household, in their businesses, while waiting for the government to come. Every time you wait for the government to come, they hardly come. They come when the fire is gone off. In Nigeria, exactly. Because, of course, the roads are bad. Communication is bad. When do we call them? When do we know what a disaster is? What really is a disaster? When there's a sudden accident or a natural catastrophe that has unfortunate consequences, which causes great damage and loss of life to a very large magnitude, it's a disaster. Nigeria right now, we're having too many disasters to talk about. It's almost like lives do not matter anymore. So I want you to think on what is disaster. Could you please help me at this point and think along and say, what is disaster? If you see it on the next slide, it's showing there. I want us to think together. Is Boko Haram a disaster?
Doctor, sorry to cut you short. You have less than 10 minutes for this session, please.
No problems.
Thank you, sir.
We'll do well with that.
All right, because we're supposed to end this session by 1.
No problems.
Thank you, sir.
So what is this Boko Haram a disaster? The herdsmen killing people, is that a disaster? Is that a national emergency? The numbers we have so far shows that is a disaster. Definitely. You can think, not until there's a flooding. A few days ago, rain fell in Lagos, and most places were flooded already. A little rain of about maybe 10, 20 minutes, we had heavy floods. And I'm like, wow, thank God who has kept us from the Noahic floods of those days. So you want to get to know that you have the natural disaster and the man-made type I've discussed already. The hybrid is a combination of them and other things and technological factors. And of course, when there's earthquake, thank God we don't have such things in Nigeria, but it's good to mention them because we are global. When there are things like floods, we've experienced flood in the year 2012, until 2022 was terrible, as it were. We don't have tsunamis yet, thank God, but recently it seems we have heat waves. We've had landslides here. Those are natural things that happen outside your control, but they are also at times subject to man's activities. Then the man-made one, like you heard from the speaker earlier, activities around different sites of our work sites adds to disaster that will lead to emergencies. Whatever manufacturing company you belong to, some produce nuclear materials, and the incident that happened recently in Ibadan, where there was the blast explosion that destroyed the entire environment because somebody stacked explosives in a living environment. It's a terrible thing to do. So we move on from there. It's quite that when you do that, you can see the classification of disasters from natural to man-made causes. And I would dare say one of the man-made causes of emergency is bad governance. Bad governance will lead, recently in Nigeria, we have so many riots and so many uprisings taking place. The NLC is talking of going on strikes right away. And we need to understand that those things could lead to adverse effects. Look at food scarcity. Look at the inflation rate going so high. People are crying and it's leading to protests. Those are emergency cases. We have the epidemic and the pandemics that happen. Those things that happen, of course, most of us know by now, they were man-made epidemics and pandemics that brought about COVID-19, that kept society down for so long a time. Chemical disasters and the rest of them come up. Now, what's a flood? When flood comes up, like I mentioned earlier on, floods are the things that, in Lagos, the slide you see there shows the flood in Lagos, not just anywhere else. It's in Lagos where cars are submerged to that level. in Lekki area, my friend living upstairs, I mean, the duplex, could not come downstairs because the whole ground floor was submerged by water, flood. So flood, is defined as an overflow of any large amount of water beyond the normal limit, beyond the banks, as it were, which should be normally dry lands. You see also the next slide shows the effects of flood. In this slide, it is supposed to be a video, really. You will see that people had to hold, somebody had gone ahead to take a rope across to just help them cross. This is normally a road they pass on. It's not a river. But this flood overtook this environment this time. And you see fire emergencies. Thank God we don't have fire of this magnitude in Nigeria. Wildfire, bushfires that occur in lands like those ones, and they're able to tackle it. I tell God, thank you every time, because if we're to have this kind of disasters, this kind of emergencies in Nigeria, we have them not in this scale. We have them when they deliberately set buildings ablaze. That's arson. We have them when tankers carrying products fall off the road because of bad roads, and we have people going to scoop fuel because of poverty, and that allows them to be caught up in the inferno. The next slide shows you a graphical representation of global emergencies. Because of time, I just let you see that you have earthquakes, you have avalanche, you have wildfires, of course, you have drought. It's an emergency also. You have tornadoes, you have cyclones. In some places, there's ash fall. You just see like a volcano ash coming out from the mountains, and everywhere changes. Tsunamis that kill people, eruptions of different types, and so many other kinds of things that happen around people. And as responders, we must be aware of how all these things get to happen and what to do, because just because it doesn't happen in Nigeria means we should sit back and not know what to do. So you know that natural disasters or emergencies are said to be acts of God or force majeure, and those force majeure are things that are outside human control. But because science has also proven, environmentalists have also proven that they are most probably caused by human activities, because the increasing occurrences and magnitude of the devastation are often, than not, having serious consequences on our lives as a people, leading to fatalities and the rest of them. Of course, you hear the word global warming, climate change every time. It's just because of the fact that the environment is causing greenhouse gases. We have different thoughts anyway, but officially, that's what it means. But let's go straight because of time. How do you get to manage these things? There are 4 basic phases of managing any emergency, whether it be at home, at work. First is called the mitigation process, MPRR. That's my acronym for it. So you have the mitigation, you have the preparedness, you have the response, and you have the what? The recovery period. To mitigate, it means you put efforts to prevent, escalation of anything, occurrence of any kind of the hazard. So we call it hazard mitigation. You know that this thing could lead to this other thing, so I'll do everything to stop it from happening. So how do we stop anything from happening? What do we do or apply to know if anything for instance, when you're doing your JTW, you discover that you plan your walk, your PTW, your permit to work. You plan your work in such a manner before you start any hot work. What I must do, what I must put in place as a safety professional. If I'm going to do hot work, I know that there may be explosion, there could be fire incidences and the rest of them. So one of the things I would do would be to put an extinguisher standing by, put a sand bucket, wear the right PPE to do the work you want to do. The same thing, we can always anticipate what disasters there could be from other people's examples or from the environment we work in. And that's why the EAIs are very important for those companies. Before you do any work, we do EAI, environmental impact assessments of whatever business you're going to carry out. And if government is going to be so sure on that, it will make it a lot better. So you have the non-structural things like insurance. Insurance policy helps you to mitigate against losses of high dimension. How prepared are we for disaster itself? It's called preparedness. So I like the Boy Scout thing that says, be prepared. It's apt every time for me. It's a phrase, and that time is where you have necessary plans put in place. For instance, how many of us have got our certificates and our documents in cellophane bags, tied up effectively? How many of us have got our documents in a particular place? How many of us have got carry-along packs? that if you hear any emergency now, you know exactly what, if you can't pick anything else, once I pick this pack and I take off, I can sustain. If other things go away, I can have these things to help me recover. And at this, the phase of preparedness, what we are doing now, the training now, is to also prepare us to know. And we should do rehearsals, test rehearsals, and the rest of them, drills, as a matter of fact, you know, to know how prepared we are as a people. How do you want to respond to emergencies? Do you have emergency numbers? Do you know the 727 numbers? Do you know the 126, as it were? The numbers that when you call at any point in time, you can get help. In other countries, it's 911. Ours is not like that. So for an efficient coordination of response, which has to be based on real emergency plan rehearsals, we have to go a notch higher. They must have a command center where all things are put together. Today, we have a case where the police works differently from the military and from other rescue and emergency services, federal road safety. But though they're trying to work it together, but we're going to do our job to make it come good. But what's the response like? What's the objective of every kind of response? First is to save lives. That's what we are here, save lives, of course. You prevent escalation of the problem, the more, wherever you find yourself, save lives, prevent escalation, make sure there's a relief, just like the 3 Ps of first aid, as it were. But you safeguard the environment is very, very, very key. Protect properties, facilitate investigations, inform the public, and restore normalcy. But the last phase of the R is the phase of recovery. When everything goes south, how do you recover and bounce back? Of course, how prepared you are will make you recover faster and better under such conditions. We're going to, if your buildings go down, do you have a building plan kept somewhere? Your properties, do you have a CFO? You know, do you have a business continuity plan for your business itself? How much are you ready to do that? Contingency plans are put in place. I ask everybody every time, what are your contingency plans? What, you know, over there abroad, they build houses and put bunkers because they know you need to go under quite quickly. But what is our contingency plan? Do you know how to contact your localities? You want to run away? You want to do you have an assembly point in your families? Can you call your family and they will know where they should be standing and waiting for you if you don't come back home and it's an emergency? That's very, very key. In your office, see the way they swiftly handed over when the Access Bank boss, you know, unfortunately, very unfortunately so, you know, lost his life with his family in faraway USA, you know, and people were going to criticize. But I think that because there's a BCP in place, so that there will be no fraud, no lacuna of signatures being signed or people's businesses suffering, they appointed somebody almost immediately to be in acting capacity while they make other arrangements to bury the young man. I'm talking of Herbert, you know, Wigwe, unfortunately. So his condolences. I mean, our condolences to him, really. You know, so
Doctor,
but that's the
we
kind
have
of thing,
less than
the plan, as
1
it
minute.
were. Because as we're there, as we yet speak, I am at the conclusion page already, because we are blessed in Nigeria not to have a serious natural disaster or large-scale natural emergencies like most other countries do. You know, otherwise we'll be overwhelmed when they happen so much. I want to thank God for that. It's our responsibility as emergency responders to be proactive and ahead of the pack. God bless you real good. What's my consciousness statement? I tell you something, whatever you do, stay safe, because it is your responsibility to promote emergency management, public health, emergency management, safety and sustainability in our society to ensure that lives and property are safe. You know, that's the last slide. God bless you real good as you move on. And I pray that the little time we have will make us be more conscious of our environment and be emergency responders. If you move on, you'll see the next slide where it's ending right there. After the conclusion, we have a slide that tells you your consciousness statement. And after that, you have the question time and the clapping of hands. May God bless you real good. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. If you're there.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wilson Aripo. You know, when pastors are presenting, you will see them, they will still do the act of church in their presentation. thank you for that wonderful session. We really
Because it's all
appreciate
about
you.
God. Thank you.
We appreciate you for that wonderful session. Thank you for taking us through what we need to remind ourselves all about, how important it is for us to have the understanding about emergency response, public health, and of course, sustainability. And for that wonderful session to reawakening the consciousness in us again. To everyone on this call, we want to say thank you for joining us. It has been an amazing session for us coming out the first CPD we had today. And I think the feedback that I'm having shows how people really enjoyed it. Thank you for this wonderful presentation. Thank you so much from Alhaji Moriba. I think that is a man from, if I'm right, is it Sierra Leone or something? Thank you so much for joining us. I've seen Mr. Oluwadari Oyebode say thank you. Ikeji say thank you, sir. So, been a very good feedback that we have received. I would like to stop sharing and to present our certificate of appreciation again to you, sir, for this wonderful session. Just a moment. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wilson Aripo, on behalf of WSO Nigeria, on behalf of SafERR Global Institute, on behalf of SafERR Africa Ambassador Network. I want to say thank you for finding out time out of your busy schedule to present this topic to us on emergency management and safety. I want to say thank you for that wonderful presentation. Many thanks for your engagement. And of course, we know that we don't need to start knocking your door. Anytime we call you, we know for sure you are there to give us more knowledge. You have been in the field for quite a number of years, and so many younger professions are leaning on you to learn from your experience so that there could be sustainability in what we're doing. Because we are thinking about the future. That is why you are ready to even give out what you have learned over the years to the next generation. We want to say thank you for your time. We want to say thank you for all what you do in the profession, and God bless you. All right,
thank you very much.
Let
God
me,
bless, sir.
okay, from Sierra Leone, thank you so much. Thank you, excellent presentation. We had a couple of people on this call. I'm just going to do a roll call. Just permit me, it's a long list. We had about over 50 people attending this session. So if you want to just open your video for us to just take a screenshot of the people that attended. And if you have questions, we'll be happy to take your questions. If you have contribution, we're happy to take your contribution. However, we want to say thank you for this wonderful time you have created to learn, to unlearn, and for us to have a better society at the end of the day. Because that is the most important thing, for us to have a society we can be proud of. That is why we are committing our energy, our resources, our time to all these sessions. So are we getting certificates for this session? Yes, because it is a CPD, definitely a certificate is going to be posted to your email, and of course you're going to receive also the presentation from our speakers, the two speakers today. Unfortunately, because of our time, we'll not be able to take Professor Gudu on public health. We're going to do that the next time we have our session. Just be on the lookout, invite your friends, invite your colleagues in the office. Let's have this session together. And we hope when we call for the next session, you find time to also join us. So yes, Mr. Dari Ayodele, there will be a certificate for attending this session. And of course, you're going to get presentation slide is going to be accompanied with that. So if you can unmute, remove your video, let's take a screenshot. We want to say thank you once again for being with us. All right, so just give me a few minutes while I am doing that. I'm just trying to, take the video for you, the screenshot of this session. Just give me a few minutes. All right, just thank you, thank you, thank you. That's the first one. All right, just a moment. I want to do, just give me 1 minute. I'm doing the second one. All right, I would like to see us smiling. All right, thank you for doing that. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Just a moment, just a moment, just a moment. Thank you, just a moment. It's taking a longer time, just bear with me. I'm a village boy that is just trying to understand how this system works. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, on this call today, we had quite a good number of our team members, try a good number of people all over the world joining us. I have Mr. Festus, I have Mr. Fadairo, I have Mr. Benga, Madam Teresa, Mr. Adamu, Alaji Kamara from Sierra Leone. Thank you for joining us. We are so excited to see you on this call. We have Mr. Eharine, if I pronounce very well. Oh, I can see Mrs. Oluchi on this call. Thank you for joining. I can see young Chris Oyakilome. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Ma. Thank you for joining us. I can see Mrs. Umba. Thank you so much, Umpo Asupo, Mohammed Bashir Dumoye. Okay, thank you. I can see Gospel. I can see Chika Dioli. All right, I think I know that name very well. Ikeji Oluwadare, just permit me if I did not pronounce your name very well. Thank you, Oga at the top, Mr. Ariyo Ayodele. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Benson, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Going to the next one. I can see again, Dr. Julius, I think he's very busy. I can see you here. Blessing Way. Oga at the top, Mr. Adefela, thank you for joining us. I can see you may be here on this call. Ebenezer, thank you for joining us. Favor Adegboye, we say thank you. Mr. Ronald, thank you for joining us. And thank you, Reverend Paul Stephen, for joining us. It's a wonderful time seeing you on this call. And again, one of our guys, Mr. Desmond George, thank you for what you're doing in your region. And I think another one, Iyabo, if I am, please just permit me. We have a very long name here. And if I did not pronounce your name very well, just forgive me for doing it wrongly. Thank you so much for joining us. I would like to allow Mr. Soji Olalokun if he has something to say as we close, and of course, if Dr. Wilson wants to give us one or two things. Let me allow Mr. Soji first. Thank you, Mr. Soji.
Okay,
Dr.
wow.
Soji, permit me. I'm so sorry. It's Dr. Soji.
All of the above. Thank you so much for everyone, to everyone joining. Time is fast spent, so we don't want to bore you. Thank you for the interest, and the participation was, the responses were palpable. Thank you so much to the speakers, to Mr. John Olalokun and Dr. Wilson Ariko. We're going to make the slides are available on the platform. So all our platform, we just drop it there. You can pick it from there. But the certificate will only be available to those that participated. Then I'm sure the video link, we should have it on our YouTube channel or page so that you could relive the moment. So thank you so much. This is an introduction. We're going to unleash several things. If you listen to my speech, you'll see several things that will be unfolding from today, appointment and several other things. Like we said, we need transformational leaders in this new phase of our operation. So we're looking at the Vision 2050. So if you're selfless and you're ready to go along with us, then you can join us and we'll be there together with your support. Thank you so much for everyone from the Alaji from Sierra Leone and the different persons that joined. We are grateful for having your time, giving us your time and listening to the discourse. Thank you so much. I'll hand over to Dr. Wilson Rico, if he has any comments. So we just call it a day and you have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Alfred, and all the team that put this together. We're grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, Dr. Wilson. You are muted, sir. You are muted, doctor. You need to unmute.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone who has joined. It's my pleasure to know that we're all here. And I really thank God for the grace to be here. Thank you, Benga. Thank you, Mrs. Ifomamba. Thank you, the fan team, as it were. I can't mention all the names, but let me just say thank you, Teresa. Thank you. The thing is that it's a journey. Oluchi, thank you for coming all the way. It's a journey we've started, and it's only the beginning. And I know we'll keep going on. We're pushing the frontiers, like the country director has said. I will call upon you many times. Chico Deli, thank you also for the support from the background. Adamu Biu from Nimasa, thank you. Theodora, my Edo people are super, thank you. Bashir, I don't want to call all the names right now, but permit me to just do what I'm doing like this. I called up some people this early morning, and I tell you, the young man from Bayelsa wasn't feeling too good, Jason, but he made efforts to be here. He wasn't feeling too well. We prayed for him. Etimbuk, thank you very much. Thank you, Gochuku, Imediegu. But thank you. The thing is that we'll call upon you again and again and again. I want to thank particularly Mr. John Olaloku, who's been a very busy person. I know the sacrifices he had to make to be here to talk on sustainability. Now, like Dr. Suji said, most of us have got things to give. But to the growth of PHEMSS, so I want to make a call to inbox us and be part of this thing. Someone like Julius Akpong, who works with me assiduously at the back end of the SafERR Directorate, has promised to be part of the facilitation team. We are putting things together. We are going to the point where you will see a partnership with institutions offering programs that has to lead to diplomas, degrees, and up to PhD, master's and PhD programs. So we need able to be on board, tighten your seatbelt. Somebody called me and said, I want to go outside the country. Will I be relevant over there? I say, of course. That's why we have SafeERR Africa, and it's just a global institute where people in the UK, Mr. Maxwell was to join, but something happened to him, Maxwell, only from the UK. He made efforts to join earlier on, whatever it is. So we go across board, and you'll be relevant as it is. Put in all your efforts. Adefela, I remember him quite okay, promising to be part of the stuff we're doing on OKZA. Thank you. So please have time to make questions available, ask questions that you need to ask even after this timeout. Desmond George, thank you, or River State, for making the place vibrant again. I like what's happening. Now we're in Africa. Remember that. If you have your contacts in Africa, let's get to know them too. SafeERR Africa has gone up. Egypt has keyed in, Algeria, Ghana, and the rest of them are keying in. So you see, you're not just within the Nigerian space. We are really global. I want to implore us to please really make it global in your little space where you find yourself, and be proud to be a SafeERR ambassador, indeed, so that as a member, and you need to keep building knowledge. We are building more knowledge. That's why we're doing this thing. It will be coming up every month, as a matter of fact. So we are building up continuously capacity so that at the end of the day, when you find yourself anywhere, you'll be our true representation, not just representative now. God bless you, Gladys Chikere, and all of you are doing so well. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful time until we get to meet again. But before that time, keep networking, and let's see your work on the different platforms you belong to. That's my appeal. Let's see your work on the different platforms. You have to do advocacy, get to the grassroots, get to the informal sectors, to the mechanics, to others. Be that advocate and post it. Priska Iwunze, for instance, had to come all the way back and told me I must be part of it, and I appreciate her for that. I thank God I didn't forget her, as it were. People who are passionate about these things, and they keep calling out and reaching out to me and say, please, thank you very much. God bless you really good. Let me pause here for now. AAA, Ambassador Jao, thank you. And Abayomi for anchoring. God bless you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Wilson, for that wonderful conclusion. And we really appreciate you. And once again, we appreciate all that you do for the Institute. I would like to draw the curtain here, and we want to say thank you and bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you,
dear.
sir. Bye.
Bye, dear. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, sir.
Bye.
I really
Bye.
appreciate
And
it.
thank you
sir.
very much.
Thank you. Roland Ekanem, well done. Thank you. Yamu, thank you.
Dr.
Thank you,
Wilson,
sir.
thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
I appreciate you. Thank you. God bless you.
Yeah, Dr. Wilson.
Ario,
Yes, sir.
how are you? How is Abuja?
A lot of our Abuja people are on the field. I think we have an engagement today.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of us will be. Somebody like me, I could not go because I have an engagement in my office today.
Okay.
But I just need to put this one forward so that Mr. Soji is on board with us. Mr. Bayowa is fully in on the information. So I mean,
we appreciate you. You get it. I want to commend Abuja. You've been doing very well, but this year I started now. Do better than last year. Others will take over from you if you don't do well. Your activities will go better this year.
That is why we are on top. We have a lot. We are still working on a lot, so we'll get better.
It's all right. It's all right. God bless you.
Right, sir. Thank you very much.
God bless you. Ms. Mba Fan is waiting for us there. Bye-bye.
Oh, yes.
I saw my Julius. Thank
right,
you.
sir.
God bless you, dear. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.